رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على سيد الأنبياء والمرسلين وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين ثم أما بعد السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته يا أيها الإخوة من Islamabad. My dear brothers and sisters from Islamabad, I'd like to start by saying salam to all of you and expressing my deep gratitude and a sense of honor and respect that you requested me to speak to all of you. I don't really see myself worthy of doing so, and I'm actually quite surprised and shocked that there's anybody watching any of my stuff on YouTube in Pakistan, but nonetheless, here we are, and I'm really happy to have the opportunity to speak to you. Islamabad is especially close to my heart because I spent a year of my life in Islamabad. I was there for 8th grade in Islamabad, and that's pretty much the only memorable experience I have of Pakistan is that 1 year that I've spent, and I hope to visit soon again, InshaAllah. I was asked to speak to you about a few things, and I'd like to start with an acknowledgement, and that is that I don't claim to understand what youth in Pakistan go through. I haven't lived there. I don't really understand the culture there very, very much. I work with a lot of youth in the United States, and I think I know a thing or two about what kind of challenges young Muslims are facing all over the world, so I can speak from a more universal point of view, or based on my experience working with young people here and the kinds of challenges they face. But hopefully some of the advice and some of the observations that I have to share with you will be of benefit to you, inshallah. And the first of them I'd like to start with really a foundation. And that is that most Muslim youth today, as things are right now, most of them, we don't see Islam as a way of looking at the world. We actually see Islam as a religion, as part of our tradition that was passed down to us from our parents. So if you ask an average Muslim youth, I would even argue anywhere in the world, why are you Muslim? Then the obvious question, the honest answer would be because my family's Muslim, or I live in a Muslim country, or I was raised a Muslim, etc. Those would be the kinds of answers you would get. And even the student or the young person that would say, no, I'm a Muslim because it's the truth. Because that's the haqq, that is the truth. Even though I can't judge the intention of someone who says that, chances are that a young person who says that is only saying that because you want them to say that. Like that's what they're expecting you'd like to hear. It's not really something that's based on proper intellectual proof and evidence. And what comes with that at the same time is that youth have a lot of questions about Islam. There are a lot of things they don't understand. There's a lot of things about Islamic law, Islamic principles, behaviors of Muslims, we'll talk about that in a little bit, that they see around them. It's really quite disturbing to them. And of course in our times, questions about Islam and its integrity and its validity and its sustainability, they're being raised in many circles, in the media, in the West, in literature, thinkers, even thinkers in the Muslim world, secularist thinkers and whatnot, or progressives as they like to call themselves, are questioning the very sanctity of Islamic principles and why we should hold on to them. There are even writers now talking about how Islam is the thing that's holding us back, etc. So in the midst of all of this, obviously the generation that's coming up in the middle of all of this rhetoric, you can't expect that they're not influenced, or that some of these thoughts don't cross your mind. And at the same time, so this is on the one hand about the intellectual kinds of the foundations, why we are Muslims to begin with. Most of us see it as a traditional thing. On top of that is just our worldview. And what I mean by worldview, I won't get into technical terminology. It's a very simple way of looking at it. What do you want the most in life? What do you want to get out of life? And if you ask an average Muslim teen or Muslim youth this question today, I don't think their answer is very different from a Christian youth, or a Jewish youth, or a Hindu youth, or a Buddhist youth, or a youth that's an atheist, or doesn't even have a religion. I don't think their answer differs very much. They pretty much want to have a successful life, a career, a nice car that everybody has a favorite car, right? Or, move to a country they'd like to move to, or whatever it may be. And a handful of these things, and that's pretty much it. That's what I want out of life. So our life goals are not necessarily dictated or even influenced by this thing that we have inside of us, this Islam. It's not a major player in our outlook on life. Then the third part of this, so there's two parts I've mentioned so far. One, that we see it as just an inherited thing. Two, that it doesn't influence our outlook on life. And three, is that we, Muslim youth, and there are going to be four things altogether. The third is that Muslim youth, in my opinion, a good majority of them don't see themselves as part of something bigger. In other words, you identify yourself maybe with the college that you go to, maybe with the city that you live in, maybe with your favorite sports team. At the most, a lot of times youth are nationalistic. They identify themselves with their country. In some more tribal areas of the world, they might identify themselves with their race, their family, etc., etc. But that's how they identify themselves. The primary mode of identification for youth today is not that they're Muslim. That's not the first thought that comes, and that's a problem. That's not the first thing that comes in your mind, is I'm Muslim. And because of that, I have a solidarity with people all over the world that share this La ilaha illallah with me. That sense of identification has become weak. I'm not saying it's not there, but it's certainly very weak. We don't identify ourselves primarily as Muslims. When we think about ourselves, maybe we think of ourselves as Pakistani first. We think of ourselves as Punjabi first. We think of ourselves as one of those things first. And then Muslim is kind of assumed, or it's not that big of a part of the picture. Then, the scary part of this conversation. There's a good number of Muslim youth to whom, when Islam was presented, unfortunately, it was presented in a very negative light. And what I mean by that is, either you come from a family that's not very practicing, and maybe even the practices of religion are looked down upon in your family, and they're taken as a joke. And I know a lot of friends from even college that were raised in families like that, where prayer, you should pray once in a while or whatever, but if a woman starts wearing hijab or a guy has a beard or something, then that's the first thing that goes off in your head, is that's the object of ridicule. That's something funny or something stupid or something extreme even. Or this person doesn't want to succeed in life, that's why they're turning to religion or whatever. These assumptions come in the minds of a lot of people. The second is that religion is really almost a nuisance. I mean, it's good. Religion is when you get in trouble, like you didn't study for your finals this week, so you kind of make dua and you go and ask the Imam Sahib to make a special dua for you or something. But other than that, religion is really not for you. It's not like it's prohibitions and it's obligations. They're just kind of a nuisance. Why do I have to do that? Why do I have to do this? Why is it asking? Everything's haram. You can't do this, can't do that, can't do the other. So you feel like the religion is just a bunch of restrictions. It's keeping you from having a good time, or from living your life the way you'd like to. And that's the view of religion that a lot of youth see it as. That's how they see Islam. And that's actually not too far from how a lot of youth see their other religions. So these kinds of perceptions, they're kind of universal. I would think that's a big problem in Pakistan too. I don't know that for a fact, but it's my uneducated assumption at this point, that some of these things that I've raised, you are able to identify with, or some of these concerns resonate with you, or you can think of friends that these concerns resonate with. So I want to start at the top. And what I want to start with is that we have to reconstruct, for youth especially, we have to reconstruct the idea that our Islam is a source of pride. That it's something that gives us strength. And it's something that made us, as from the point of view of history, Islam is what made us a noble civilization. And what held us in high, we had something to offer the world. The world looked up to us, to Islam, because we had something superior to offer. And we have to bring that mentality back, that Islam in fact is superior. No matter, through all the garbage and all the rhetoric that you might hear, through all of that poison, we can't lose sight of the fact that Islam in fact is the truth, and is the superior way to live. And any other way to live is actually, you should feel sorry for. Instead of us, most of the time, imitating people that really don't deserve to be imitated, over here in America, Miley Cyrus is a big deal with the younger kids. And just a couple of days ago in the news, she got caught with a bong, right, with some drugs. And we, even Muslims, they idolize this girl, and the little girls wear her book bags and watch her shows and videos and things like that. And they're huge fans of hers. And now she's caught with drugs, So we unfortunately have these role models that don't deserve to be role models, but we've made them that way. And so what do you expect? How far do you expect to go in life when your role models are this pathetic? So that's the one thing. A sense of pride has to be revived among Muslims. The second thing, or Muslim youth. The second thing is, for Muslim youth, we have to stop seeing ourselves as kids. I mean, as far as our deen, our religion, our way of life, our worldview is concerned, the moment pretty much you're a teen, you should be treated like an adult. And you should act like one, you should be expected to act like one, and you should carry responsibilities like one. And what comes with that is automatically that you're a role model. There are others who look up to you. So when you are living a lifestyle of recklessness, and you don't care about the consequences of your actions, or you are, for example, even domestic things like you don't show respect to your parents, or you don't care about prayer, whatever it is, you're a role model to your younger siblings. You're a role model to the younger people in your neighborhood. So when you don't do that, you have left that legacy for them to follow. Because believe it or not, there are kids in your community, and there are people in your family that want to be like you. They look up to you. So what you do leaves a legacy for them. And so when you follow this miserable lifestyle, and you leave that legacy for them, if you have any ounce of belief in Judgment Day that we're going to be standing in front of Allah answering questions, then on that day, it's not just that you have to answer for your own partying, you have to answer for that legacy, that trail you left behind, and all those who followed in your footsteps. They have to answer for themselves, and you have to answer for them too. وَلَا يَحْمِلُنَّ أَثْقَالَهُمْ يَحْمِلُنَّ أَثْقَالَهُمْ وَأَثْقَالًا مَعَ أَثْقَالِهِمْ, Allah says. They're going to be carrying their burdens and a burden on top of their own burdens. And these were people that were just bad influences. And a lot of times the worst influences for young people are other young people. Young people don't look up to old folks to find their ways. I feel like a senior citizen talking to you guys right now. Right? Among you guys, you're each other's major influence. And so we find in the Quran where it talks about this idea of influencing others. And there were these people that wanted young Muslims to become kuffar again among the Sahaba. So they said, اتَّبِعُوا سَبِيلَنَا وَلَحْمِلْ خَطَايَاكُمْ. They said, follow our way, we'll carry your sins. Don't worry about it. We'll take care of your sins. وَمَا هُمْ بِحَامِلِينَ مِنْ خَطَايَاهُمْ مِنْ شَيْءٍ. Allah tells us they're not going to be carrying anybody's sins at all. مِنْ شَيْءٍ. At all. Zara sa bhi nahi. Right? إِنَّهُمْ لَكَاذِبُونَ. They're just liars. All they're doing is lying. So don't fall into that trap. Don't become a trendsetter for evil, and don't be a follower. Be a leader. And that's where confidence in Islam plays such a major role. If there are sisters watching this, in my opinion, one of the biggest crises in the Muslim world today is the confidence of Muslim women. Muslim women have to be proud of the fact that they're Muslim women. They have to take pride in wearing their hijab. They have to take pride in practicing their deen. And when that pride is not there, then they're looking for a woman will look for validation in other things. Our families, our fathers have to give confidence to our women. Our husbands have to empower the wives. And that culture needs to change. We've become, unfortunately, when you think of Islam, you think of women being oppressed, and you think of women, their voices being suppressed, and them not being able to, say what they want to say, etc., etc. But if you look at the Sahaba, the women were outspoken. I mean, they spoke. Their opinions were heard. They were educated people. They were teachers in the community. They were in these positions of responsibility. So, our sisters, we have to revive that confidence in them as well. And we have to rise above these petty goals in life. We have to look at, the people who Allah has not given the gift of Islam, this high thing that Allah has given us, this noble thing that Allah has given us. The people that Allah has not given that to, we should look at them and feel sorry for them. Really. I feel sorry for the person who Allah has given Islam and they don't appreciate what it is. Can you imagine you being given just a really expensive gift? I don't know, a 5 Series BMW? And you don't appreciate what it is? You don't get an expensive gift and throw it away or trash it. You value it if you truly appreciate what it is. I feel like in the Muslim world, we don't appreciate what Islam is. You were raised in a Muslim family, Islam, masjid on every corner, even though there's all kinds of drama in masajid nowadays, but at least Islam is common, right? It's not like that over here. I mean, I have friends that were Christians and Jews and atheists. And when they became Muslim, their entire family kicked them out of the house. Was it 5 months ago I met a girl in Alabama. This girl, daughter of a minister, a Christian minister. And she saw the Kaaba in her dream. Can you imagine? And she became Muslim. And she started wearing hijab. Only Muslim girl, white girl in her town, in the entire village. And her father finds out. And he says, you're worshipping the devil. Kicks her out of the house. And she holds on to her Islam.